I'm talking. Yeah, that was
Three blind rice.
yeah. The we got more. What do you think as like the '90s era's like favorite cartoon or '90s babies like cartoons?
Go-to cartoons in the night. I probably say Dragon Ball Z. Um, Rugrats.
Got to throw that in there.
Hey Arnold.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta say Pokemon. What else?
It's hate.
I said Hey Arnold was 90s. Dang, what else? Some good card. Johnny Bravo.
Would you say more of the heavy hitters came out in the '90s or more of the heavy hitters came out in the 2000s?
I'd say because we grew up in like the in between. So I'd probably say like the late 90s.
Because what you got your, because what was Courage
Late
and
90s.
Ed, Ed and Eddie was that late '90s?
That was late 90s going into the 2000s.
Okay.
Like Courage, Ed, Ed, and Eddie,
Yeah.
SpongeBob. Remember like Dexter, Powerpuff Girls.
Ooh.
All that was like going into that was like the later 90s. Cat Dog, another one.
Which one you think you have the most watch time on out of like the like the '90s going into the 2000s? Not so
The
much.
most watch time was probably be Hey Arnold and Rugrats. I spent the most time watching them.
Hey Arnold and Rugrats. Yeah.
Because you had the other ones like the Ren and Stimpy. It's another one I'm thinking about.
You mentioned that. Yeah, those are one of those shows that I watched.
Like
Wait.
them Beaver and some other animal. I can't remember the name of that show.
I know they had like the wild thing like with the family with like this.
Oh, the Thornberries. Whatchamacallit? Yeah. What was the name of that show? Was the Wild Thornberry? That's what it was.
Yeah. Yes. I remember the animation.
Like I watched it, but they wasn't not as much as some other shows.
School. What's that? Schoolyard or they played like dodgeball or some shit. It came on like it was like a school aesthetic like cartoon.
Recess.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Recess.
I ain't gonna lie, the real ones grew up watching that Wild Thornberries and Road. They had a crossover movie.
They
I don't know if you
did.
remember that.
I needed that.
I can't remember what was the name of that movie.
I couldn't tell you. Well, their animation styles were so similar.
Because they was similar.
And I always thought,
They
man,
made a whole crossover movie back in like 02, something like that.
you know who made a terrible crossover movie?
Rugrats Go Wild. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Rugrats Go Wild.
You locked in.
And then the other Rugrat. What was the other Rugrats movie?
I think it was just Rugrats, wasn't it?
The Rugrats movie. Then they go to Paris or something like
Yeah,
that.
they added a location to it. That's how you know somebody. They really drag in a series. They'd be like, everybody going to France.
They was the first in Paris, huh?
No, really. What do you think? You remember that? What was it? Jimmy Neutron into Fairly Odd Parents, or was it vice versa? It was like a crossover.
Crossover to Jimmy Timmy Pow Wow. They had like 3 of them.
Yeah.
It was like Jimmy Timmy Pow Wow, then they had the second one, then they had the third one.
You know, I wasn't like a huge fan of when they came to Jimmy's
Into Jimmy's Universe.
Yeah. I'm not a huge fan of 3D like anyway for real.
I said, but Jimmy was like the only cartoon that made it work.
They did. But it's because that was their aesthetic.
It was the aesthetic.
Like, because he had that science kind of weird-ish like
Everything revolved around science.
Yeah.
Like you learned a little something about it too.
Yeah.
Like it was a little educational. It was funny though.
They had a good
They made it work.
Man, I used to really love, I know I'm jumping from era to era. I used to really love what's the kids? They were all agents.
All Asian kids.
Gosh, Codename Kid Next
Oh, Codename's Kid Next Door.
Bro, I don't know. I feel like I don't really remember it.
Yeah, that was 2000s.
But
2000s.
That was probably one of my most watched 2000 shows. 90s cartoon. I watched, was Static Shock a 90s cartoon?
I think it was 2000s.
Damn. It seemed old.
It was early